Idaho Sports Talk with Prater and the Ballgame. They're the team to beat on paper on Sports Radio 95.3 FM and 1350 AM. The Ticket.
Prater, check out my air guitar game. Thoughts?
In college, my first year of college in my dorm, I won me and my two buddies won the air guitar contest. We had to play 3 songs. We picked Ted Nugent. We got costumes and everything. And we won a $300 gift certificate to a local record store. We thought we were like the richest dudes in the world.
Dude, $300 at a record store in the early 80s goes a long stinking way, man.
Not to mention the ladies afterwards. They were fired up and excited for that show.
We have the camera segment, College Football Hour. Can you give a little taste? Do you remember any of your moves for us on the guitar?
No, but I remember having a tennis racket.
Oh, that's what you use for a guitar? Yeah.
I had a tennis racket.
That's awesome, man.
And there are
back.
pictures of that. And no, you can't have any of them.
I would die to frame one here in the RollPaint.com studio. What's going on, guys? And welcome back. The Mountain West schedule, it's going to get different because they're going to get away from the divisions. And Craig Thompson has said even on this show about protecting certain rivalries, Prater.
He has, and he's talked about 3 rivalries in the Mountain West. He said on Idaho Sports Talk. He's talking about Colorado State, Wyoming. He's talking about Nevada, UNLV, and he's talking about San Diego State, Fresno State. The Mountain West right now is talking about a variety of scheduling options for 2023 and beyond. And I'm not sure what kind of model they're going to look at. I've asked the Mountain West for those models and scenarios of what they've talked about. They said they're not ready to make them public yet. Lots of other conferences out there are doing like a 3-5-5 model. You play 3 protected opponents, and then you rotate the other 10 teams in your conference. I'm talking mostly the 14-team Power 5 conferences, and you rotate those other 5. Because there's only 12 teams in the Mountain West, it could be a little bit squirrelier than that. I'm not sure what they're going to come up with. There's been some reports that the Mountain West is going to let you protect 3 opponents. I don't think that's going to happen. I really don't. I don't think, based on what Craig Thompson told us last week and just the nature of this conference, there really is. I think it's forcing it. Not every team has 3 opponents that they need to have. And everybody's going to want the same 5 teams because there's not a lot of bottom depth in this conference. So I don't think it'll work. But for the purpose of that, we're going to have a conversation today. If indeed the Mountain West comes out and says, Boise State, you get to protect 3 teams and you got to play them every single year. Who are they? You and I are going to play this exercise.
You know, I'll go with my first right now of protected teams. And, this goes back to the Big Sky, and it's a rivalry as far as I'm concerned, and that's the Nevada Wolfpack. I don't know how you can construct any type of a protection schedule system for Boise State and not have Prater, for me, Nevada being the number 1 team. I know in recent memory, Boise State has dominated this series. However, Nevada had the big win on the blue last year. It was the first time they had beat Boise State since the Kaepernick game down in Reno with Kellen Moore. But that, for me, that was the easy peasy. I can't see them doing this and saying, well, hey, Nevada, but then again, like, Nevada's not in Boise State's division. I didn't understand that when they constructed the stupid divisions. Boise State and Nevada aren't in the same division. They're not playing every year. What the hell's going on out here? Get that back at Boise State, Nevada every single year, if you ask me.
Not so fast, my friend.
Oh, pulling a Corso.
I left Nevada off my list.
You did?
I did. I'm tired of that road trip. It's a decent road trip. It's a little difficult if you want to try to pull it off on a weekend. It's somewhat dangerous of a road trip. And there's no destination in Reno. There's no destination at Mackey Stadium. There's no destination for a football game. Why do I want to spend the weekend in Reno, which I think is
what?
I think it's a disgusting city. I really do.
It's one of the a-holes of America.
It really
I'll give you that.
It really
Reno's
kind
gross.
of is. And
it's gross. Don't leave the casino.
20 years ago, I liked Reno, but the world has passed Reno by. I've got zero interest in dealing with those fans. I've got zero interest in dealing with that road trip. I'm upgrading. And it's going to cost you fans just a little bit more, but I'm upgrading to UNLV. They have a brand new, beautiful stadium, Allegiant Stadium. It's a destination. It's a new sports capital of the world. And you could probably fly to Vegas with proper planning now cheaper than you can drive to Reno because of the gas prices. So figure it out, guys. Let's get rid of Nevada and let's throw in UNLV. Nevada's not a competitive series anymore, and UNLV is not a competitive series, so you can't do it for that. So what's it all about? It's about the destination, and the destination for me is Vegas. Screw you, Reno.
JP, he got me on that
Wow,
one.
okay. I like that. That's passion, baby. Passion.
I didn't consider Vegas. They weren't invited to my combine. But now that I hear that, you're like, hell yes. Of course, yeah. Why wouldn't you want to have the Vegas road trip every other year? Plus, hey, it's probably an easy peasy win in most cases too, unless if ever UNLV can get that thing going, and it's been like 40 years in the making. Wow. Okay, you start me off with number 2. Then that's a good one. I can scratch my Nevada off, and I'll add UNLV on there. I think that's a good sell, Prater.
One of the reasons why it's easy to get rid of Nevada as a road trip is because you can also take a road trip to Logan, and Logan is no destination, but it's an easy drive. It's 4.5 hours. It's all interstate. It's beautiful when you get there, and it's an easy environment to walk into. You don't have to worry about thug fans. You don't have to worry about thug environments. It's a nice, cozy little stadium. I'm not going to get too carried away, but we saw the fan base I went to the Logan game this past year because of a weird travel schedule, and there was an entire half of a section of the stadium, a couple of 2, 3, 4, 5,000 people there. And it was a beautiful fall day. It was a beautiful environment. Boise State had a nice big game. It's not sexy. You can't gamble. You might have to take your own beer. But I think Utah State, in terms of just a quick weekend college football road trip, bring that on to me every single time.
Yeah, I have Utah State on my list too. I mean, you can go back to the Big West. They were in the league together. They've been playing a long time. And, Utah State's got a pretty good program. They do. Yeah. They win a hell of a lot more than they lose now. I mean, they've had a first-round drafted quarterback a couple years ago in Jay Love. And, it seems like they've had good success in coaches from the first Anderson stint. Wells did good enough to get a Big 12 gig, and it looks like the new Anderson, it's like he's off to a great start, winning the league in his first year. I think they care about football down there.
Absolutely.
That's a passionate fan base. They give a rip, and way better stadium than Mackey. Way better. Maverick Stadium, Mackey Stadium, no comparison. Let's keep Utah State on the schedule. I like the fact I need at least one road game that I can drive to. Okay, at least one on this thing. And that's Utah State for me too. I'll match you. So I have, we're agreeing on this. I'm going UNLV with you, and we'll agree on Utah State. My final one, just because I love this going back for 20 years, the Fresno game. I would love to see Boise State and Fresno. I know it's not a destination. Fresno sucks. We've all spent a lot of time there. You have. That's not a great city. There's nothing cool to do in Fresno except go to Bulldog Stadium in the Valley, which is another passionate fan base. They love their Bulldogs in Fresno, and they're good way more often than they're bad. And that seems like it's always been a fun game, and everybody will go back to the 2001 moment. And I would like to see Fresno on this schedule every single year. Prater, what do you think about that?
Ball game, you're not wrong. And that's a good one. And it's really hard. You got to get into California. And obviously I'm going to pick San Diego State just because you picked Fresno State. But it's 50-50. It really, truly is. I mean, San Diego State, maybe you can spend 6 hours and go carve off and do something touristy because you're not going to find that in Fresno. But in terms of, you got to get on a plane. You got to spend a lot of money. You got to deal with a lot of hassle. You're going to get yourself a pretty good football game. But yeah, I went with San Diego State just because they're the marquee franchise in this conference outside of Boise State. Mm-hmm. They're the ones that are sending all these players to the NFL. We all love. I'm speaking the obvious here. Boise State versus San Diego State is probably the game of the year for me every single year because it's going to be a battle. It's going to be a war. Something's going to be at stake. It's going to get ugly. I'm going to hate you. You're going to hate me. I think it checks a lot of different boxes. But I could say the same about Fresno State. So as long as both of us are making one road trip into California, I think we're okay. We got those suckers covered. I was worried that you might pick San Jose State because one time you told me you like the scenery around the stadium.
San Jose State, beautiful, picturesque scenery around the stadium. But no,
thanks for
I don't want to protect that. And I think they got the coolest uniform combinations in the Mountain West too. I love San Jose State, but no. Okay, you got to get to California. Gotcha. I'm hoping in most situations you'd play San Diego State and it would be in the Mountain West Conference Championship game.
Yeah.
That type of situation. But so we'll push on that. What do you guys think? I got a few people here. One guy says San Diego State, Fresno State, Utah State. So he doesn't have Vegas or Nevada.
I think we're kind of on the same page. I need somebody to fight for Reno. Is there anybody out there still fighting for Reno? That used to be the marquee road trip for Boise State football fans. I don't think it is anymore. I need somebody to come in here and say, hell yes, that's still number one.
What's his name? Johnny Golf Game in Eagle. He says they need to keep Fresno, Nevada, Wyoming on the Mountain West schedule because they are all in an arm's length. We didn't mention Wyoming. Proximity, not far away. I mean,
no, come on. Laramie's like 7 weeks away. It takes you 7 weeks to get to Laramie.
Yeah, because you're right. That's eastern Wyoming there.
That's a 10-hour drive, dude.
Through nothing.
Yeah, 100% accurate in the middle of the winter. No, thank you.
You guys want to keep Wyoming in Nevada? What, guys?
I can see the Nevada rationale. Don't bring me Wyoming. And I think Wyoming is, I'm the only one. Well, Bob actually likes it, which surprises me. I love Laramie on a college football weekend. Love it. It's a beautiful town. You get drinks and food and fun and debauchery on a Friday night, drinks, food, and fun and debauchery on a Saturday night. And Wyoming and Laramie on a college football weekend is spectacular. But I always got paid and I was forced to go. I would never spend money to drive over there to watch a regular season game. No.
Dave, an ex police officer, says the only reason Prater wants Vegas is so he can drink. Prater, I think you can drink at a lot of these places.
Yeah, but Dave's a smart guy. I think I know Dave, and Dave, you're probably not wrong, but I can drink anywhere. Yes.
All right. Well, let's continue this. Leon Rice talked to us earlier today regarding Marcus Shaver Jr. and his return to the men's basketball program. Do not miss this clip. Is this the one? Have we ever played this clip before, JP?
We have not.
Okay. Fresh audio. No one other than us has ever heard this clip from Leon. Coming next. Don't miss it. Prater in the Ballgame, Idaho Sports Talk, KTIK The Ticket.
You're listening to Idaho Sports Talk with Prater in the Ballgame on Sports Radio 95.3 FM and 1350 AM.